Chapter 18. Harper was having a great day. Usually she saw a slight dip in sales after the holidays, but the general store was doing a brisk business. She'd barely had a chance to sit and read her book at all. She was finally sitting on her stool to crack open the new equestrian romance from her favorite author when the front doorbell dinged. There goes some fun in the Texas sun, she thought. Resigned, she added the bookmark to save her page and looked up to see a waiting customer. Whoa, she startled at the man who was standing directly in front of her. That was quick. Most people like to wander a bit. Not this guy, apparently. "Hi," she said, recovering her composure. "Can I help you find anything?" The customer was very good-looking, Harper thought, if you liked tall, dark, and handsome. She preferred blondes, but she couldn't deny that the man in front of her was insanely attractive. He had short, dark hair, sun-kissed skin that hinted at a Persian or Mediterranean ancestry, and piercing brown eyes. Those eyes were locked on hers, and she blushed. He'd clearly caught her perusal. "Yes, I'm looking for something for my girlfriend, something unique." Well, she thought, there you go. All the good ones were taken. Not that she was looking. Harper was not ready for a relationship again, although a night or two on a cold winter night had some appeal. Of course. She redirected her thoughts. "What kind of woman is she? I have a variety of handmade and local products, but if you describe her a bit, I can probably narrow down some ideas." She rose from her stool and came around the counter next to him. "She loves to travel and has a very adventurous spirit." He grinned, tapping a finger on her glass counter. Okay, let me think for a moment." Harper played with her lip with a fingernail. That wasn't much to go on. Most people that came here were travelers. She gave it some thought. "Does she have more of a backpacker, van life, motel, or resort vibe?" Her customer laughed again, his eyes crinkling at the corners. Backpacker. At least that gave her a direction. She squinted her eyes, her brain whirring as she went through her inventory in her mind. "Come with me, I have some great items over here." She led him to a row of wool base layers, hats, and socks. "These are from a local llama farm and are both soft and warm." He picked a pair of socks up to inspect them before replacing them. Okay, I guess not, she thought. "What is the occasion for the gift? Maybe I can narrow it down a little more." Harper hated this type of customer. They didn't know what they wanted and were impossible to please. He'd probably leave the store without purchasing anything, and there went 20 minutes of her time. "We had a fight, and I want to give her something special as an apology." He continued to browse the shelves, periodically picking up an item before replacing it. She followed him, a few steps behind. If it was a makeup gift, they had to forget the socks. It had to be something more romantic. "Actually, you might have seen her around. She came to visit for a few days, and I was hoping to surprise her with an apology and a gift." Harper melted. Again, she thought, why were all the good ones taken? This was such a sweet gesture. Wait, speaking of sweet, she had a thought. "I have just the thing. I don't know a woman alive that can resist my chocolate ganache tart." That could work. He nodded, following her to the bakery counter, where there were a number of delicious-looking pastries and desserts. After a moment, he added, almost as an afterthought, "Hey, you wouldn't happen to have seen her around. She left without giving me the address of where she's staying." Harper frowned. That seemed a little off, but maybe his girlfriend was just private. "She must have been pretty angry at you to go on vacation alone and not leave a forwarding address." "I deserved it." He smiled again in a wide grin, showing his even, white teeth. "She's supposed to be back soon, but I thought I should make a grand gesture, you know?" She did know, since she was a huge fan of gestures big and small. "Nothing's ever perfect. Why don't you just text or call her for the address? I'm sure she'd want to see you now that she's calmed down." He ran a finger down the glass countertop. Harper would have to clean off the fingerprints when he left. Why did clear glass always make people want to draw on it? "I would, but I was hoping to make this a surprise." "That's so sweet. Well, showing up with the chocolate tart to surprise her is a nice gesture. I'm sure she'll be happy to see you." "I hope so." His smile didn't reach his eyes this time. He pressed. "Perhaps you've seen her around." It was a statement, but posed like a question. Again, something seemed a little off, but Harper ignored the little niggle. Instead, she laughed. It's a small town, but I doubt it. What does she look like? She's about 5'10", with dark skin and curly hair. If she came in, you'd recognize her. She has a presence that stands out, quiet and intense. That was an odd way of describing his girlfriend, but wow, what a coincidence. It sounded just like Gabe's buddy. Imogen had mentioned her when they were skiing. She wasn't sure what was going on between her brother and her friend, and didn't like this stranger coming between them. Still, it wasn't her business. Harper frowned again. I actually do think I know her. If so, she's visiting my brother. They're old military buddies or something, right? Anita had seemed standoffish with her when she stopped by, but honestly, she was gorgeous. It made sense that she was adventurous, as he said, since she was active duty and did, in fact, travel often. But she couldn't help that niggle of unease in her belly that wouldn't go away. Some women just weren't warm and friendly. This guy put on the charm, but he had an intensity about him that made the hair on her arms stand up. Harper didn't get the appeal, but maybe this guy's charm softened his edges. Everybody had their type. The man nodded yes and whipped out his wallet. Thanks for the information. I forgot she has a friend she was staying with. That makes sense she wasn't registered at a hotel. Any chance you'd give me his address? No, sorry, I can't do that. Her brother was private. Regardless, there was no way she would give some stranger his personal information. I think it's just best you call her yourself and arrange to meet. I'm sure the ganache will be enough of an apology. She took it out and began to place it in a bakery box, which she closed and tied deftly. It's salty, not too sweet, and the crust is incredibly flaky. If you give her this, she'll forgive you for anything. I certainly hope so. Thank you. He paid her with cash and left with his gift without another backward glance. Intense dude, Harper thought, sitting down and picking up her book again. It was time to get back to her cowboy. She preferred men who could make her laugh, rather than ones that were so serious. Life was hard as it was, and humor made everything better. Diving into the story, she forgot about the interaction.